Nuances in a world full of headlines. Here's one of the biggest problems I think when it comes to social media, making content, hell, even talking to people about these kinds of things, that we live in a world that's full of, snippets, headlines, attention grabbers. How can I get people's attention? Most people's attention span, I think they reckon, has dropped down to 3 seconds. You have 3 seconds to engage someone's attention. So it leads to big, broad, inflammatory statements, which is always such a hard one. It comes back to, that saying, especially nowadays, of if you ain't being hated on, you ain't doing shit. Because if you're gonna talk about things in a broad spectrum manner, well, people are gonna get upset by it. But that's also where you get your views. That's where you get your content creation. That's where people stay and then they argue in comments, and it creates more dialogue and you get more attention, and so the wheel spins. But so much of what matters comes from the nuances. And look, I will openly raise my hand and say that I am in that world as well. One of my stands and one of the battles that I have frequently on here and other platforms is, well, fuck the dad bod. I firmly fucking agree with that statement. I think it's disrespectful to your wife, to your children, to, yourself and anyone who fucking cares about you. This concept that, I like it and it's fine isn't an acceptable option. Like, you being overweight is still unhealthy. However you want to fucking slice that, it is unhealthy. And I made a video the other day, and I also agree with this statement, and I didn't realize this is now a trending thing, but it's funny. Also, fuck the ab guy, whose whole personality is having a six-pack. Like, that is also not an acceptable option. But this is the problem, that we live in these dichotomies of we can't hold two ideologies at once. And it's either you're the dad bod or you're the ab guy, and there's nothing in between. Well, there is. In fact, there's a lot in between. And as someone who has been fat, who has been overweight, who had to drop over 30 kilos of unwanted body fat, to also being the guy with the six-pack, I can tell you it's much fucking better being the guy with the six-pack. But that's not the defining feature. The feature that matters to me is that I am capable to do anything at any moment. I am capable to do the things that my children want. I'm capable to go out and undertake any task that I want. I can play basketball still at quite a reasonable level. I can run, I can jump, I can sprint, I can climb equipment, I can climb trees, I can get down on the floor and play with my kids in a half fucking comatose state. I can carry my daughter back to bed. I can throw them around, I can lift them up. I can do all these kinds of things. I carry muscle, which makes me harder to kill. I'm more resistant to disease. I'm less likely to get injured. All these kinds of things. Is having a six-pack fucking nice? You bet your ass it is. Do I like building the muscle and I'm sculpting it? I prefer, if I'm being honest, hypertrophy training and building muscle in certain areas. And especially now at the level that I've gotten to, I'm now going, there's a muscle imbalance there and a muscle imbalance there. I like that side of it. But I believe being in great fucking shape as a father is about your children and also setting the standard. That we do hard things because they're hard. We don't give in to sedation because that's easier. This concept that, and I saw this one the other day, and I still disagree with it. I understand where they're coming from, but it still irritates me as a whole, because they're like, I like to work out, but I also clearly like to eat. Okay, so you have discipline in one area and not another area. I also like to eat. My wife is the most incredible fucking pastry chef. The things that that woman can cook is ridiculous. And I thoroughly fucking enjoy them. But I'm an adult and I make adult decisions, and my health and well-being is more important to me than giving in to my cravings. I also love alcohol. One of my first jobs out of high school was working in a bottle shop. I love wine, I love spirits, I have an incredible bar in my house from a previous life. I still love these things, but I make adult decisions about what's more important to me. And being the healthiest version of myself is that the more important thing. And I said the other day, your body is a walking resume of what actually matters to you. It really is. And so I can make delayed gratification decisions based on the things that matter to me. And being here for as long as possible matters. Being strong, fit, and healthy matters. Being an example to my children fucking matters. These things matter to me, so I make those adult decisions. Does that mean I never eat the things I want? No. Does that mean we don't go out for dinner? No. Does that mean I can't go to places? No. I still do those things. I just make adult choices. Like I had someone the other day and they were like, well, clearly you can't go out for dinner because I eat an animal-based diet. You ever heard of steak and chips, motherfucker? Like, there are ways to do this. You just have to make decisions. You make adult decisions. And yeah, it is harder when I'm out and about. As I said, I love food. If I didn't make adult decisions, I would be an obese alcoholic. If I'm being truly brutally honest with myself, probably a drug addict. I get very easily addicted to things. I have an addictive personality. I like those things. But I make an adult choice and continuously make the adult choice towards what's the most important thing. And as I said, it's not just the ability to play with my children and do the things that they want, but it's also setting that standard. My kids love to work out. Often they're like, hey, can we go work out in your gym, Dad? Sure, let's go do it. So we throw around some weights, they pick them up, they carry them, we do jumps, we do hangs, we do these kinds of things. Because they see that as what Daddy does. They build that as important. And it comes back to that statistic. And I must actually look up the other side of it. But if one parent's overweight or obese, there is a 50% chance that the child will be overweight or obese. If two parents are overweight or obese, there is an 80% chance of that fact. As a child who was bullied in school for being the fat kid, I can tell you that I would much rather give my children, as some people like to call it, which is the most fucking absurd thing. Oh, what's it called? The one where you're obsessed with exercise and good food. Orthorexia. I'd much rather, quote unquote, which is just the stupidest fucking thing, give them orthorexia by setting a standard of we just generally eat good food and exercise, which is not orthorexia, than being the fat kid and giving them metabolic damage and setting them up for hardships and, quite honestly, to be bullied, to have these issues. No, I'd much rather them go, exercising and eating the right food is normal. Doesn't mean that you can't eat those other things on occasion, but it's like, they've now adapted it for Cookie Monster. Cookies are a fucking sometimes food. Be an adult. Make them a sometimes food. And a sometimes isn't just the weekend. It means, special occasions here and there. Not 4 days on, 3 days off. But it's in the nuances of that. I have a friend who's a dad. He would probably be classified in the upper end of dad bod, potentially overweight. The man has lost like 40 kilos. That's not the guy I'm fucking talking to. That man exercises every week. He's on his nutrition. He's doing the stuff. That's not the guy I'm talking to. That man is a fucking legend. He is in real time showing his children what it's like to do the fucking work. Nah, that man is killing it. And I am proud as shit of that guy. The guy I'm talking about is the guy who's like, I don't need to do anything because I'm fucking perfect the way I am. I can stuff my face with all the food I like, do an occasional exercise here and there, and I'm cool because the dad bod's in. Yay me. Nah, fuck that shit. That's the one I have an issue with. This celebration of mediocrity, this celebration of unhealthiness. That's the problem. And it comes back to the one I say all the time. It's my favorite saying. The bar is on the fucking floor. We as a society have lowered the standard, especially for men, so fucking far that it's ridiculous. That it's like, oh yeah, you can be fat and you can stuff your face and all this kind of stuff, and we'll love you just the way you are. Oh, now you're sick. Oh, now you have health problems. Oh, now you can't do things. Yeah. Health and exercise are the standard. It's just normal. It should just be normal. But we live in a society where I'm the fucking weirdo for exercising every day. I'm the fucking weirdo for not drinking alcohol and eating good food. And this is the one that we need to break. This is the issue in society that we need to correct. That's the issue. That's where the nuances lie, in that people want to normalize not doing the work. They want to normalize and make it okay to be lazy as fuck. This is the problem. This is where issues lie. And this is where we need to correct it. And as I said, also just to set a standard for your children, to show them that working in the pursuit of something that is hard to attain is important. Showing up consistently is important. Delaying gratification is important. These are skills that will set them up for life. And it comes from you leading by example. It comes from you doing the work here and now. This is the separator. And this is where it matters. But people want to defend their ideologies without any nuance and background of it. If you are working towards a progression, as I said, I am damn fucking proud of you. If you're not in great shape yet, but you're doing the work, fan-fucking-tastic. I will support you till the cows come home. That is great shit. I have issues with people when they refuse to do the work and they fob it off as the dad bod's in, or look, this is what people like these days. Cool, it doesn't mean it's a good life choice. We've seen plenty of fucking examples, especially these days, and ones that will get me in trouble on these platforms, of people who, as a society, we've decided are acceptable and normal. It doesn't make it okay. It just means that the majority of people do it. It comes back to the lemming effect. If all the lemmings are fucking running off the cliff, doesn't mean it's a good life choice. And that's the differentiator. And that's the nuance that you, and only you, can work out for yourself. I can promise you, everything in your life gets better when you get strong, fit, and healthy. It does. And you should be pursuing the highest version of yourself. And that does mean continuing to push yourself to be the fittest, strongest, healthiest version of yourself. One of the things is that, well, my goal is to get stronger, fitter, healthier, leaner every year. And so far I am. It's an impossible thing. It is fucking impossible. There will come a point where it just won't be possible. But you pursue it. It's about the pursuit of it. It's about pushing yourself forward and seeing what you are capable of. These are the nuanced separators. It's the same concept as progressive overload. You can't just show up to the gym every day and go job done. You must progressively overload and make progression forward. That will give you way more bang for your buck than anything else. And it comes down to the mentality that comes with it. You have to have the right mentality. You have to show up every day with the idea that I am going to demand fucking greatness of myself and push myself, lead by example, and show my family what is possible. That's what we are after. That's the point of this. So the question is, do you want to continue in this mediocrity? Or do you want to separate yourself into demanding greatness, being the greatest version of yourself, and leading by example for your wife and children? Only you can make that decision.